for, and we've got to find a way of getting over it. Solutions, some of the stuff that we're talking about here today, building stronger links with commerce, making better use of existing resources, existing support, getting hold of the money, and crucially directing the policy direction as it goes on. So it's great that, I don't know what the history was on this report, to be honest with you, I only heard about it this week. So I don't know why or who in EMDA commissioned it, I can find out. But what's interesting is that somebody in EMDA is interested in this angle for the growth of your sector. So I think it's quite an interesting lead for you to follow up, to find out who that ally is that you have. You don't care about London, but Hillary is great. This is an electric assisted bicycle, which you need if you're pedalling around wet nappies, because they're very heavy. But she runs a real nappy laundry and a real nappy supply shop, so she's built up a supply chain of real nappy producers. You can see some behind her. This is a shop out the back of King's Cross. And the advantages of centralised laundering are significant in terms of energy saving. And she just runs a series of very local real nappy laundry networks. And they're great. It's much more than baby poo. It brings all sorts of people together. They have, because quite often, we've lost, because of Procter & Gamble, we've lost the knack of Terry's, basically. I mean, I changed my brother's nappies but in Terry's when I was a kid, but we're just so used to kind of Velcro, whatever it is, strap on. People don't know how to do it now, so there's quite a lot of interesting cultural exchanges where, I saw when I dropped in for a visit, there were some Palestinian refugees helping local kind of Jewish yummy mummies know how to wrap their baby up properly. It was just interesting culturally. So, I always think about her. They're the ones with the shopping trolleys. Greenworks, I think we've got a franchise in the region. Colin Crooks, office furniture recycling. But that's become a major social enterprise success in this area. FRP, Brian's on my board. What I like when I went there to visit, he said, I said, what do you recycle? He said, we recycle people. And he's basically this whole idea of taking dropouts and bringing them back into better qualified, more active employment is a kind of key motif right through the sector. Taru is one of our more exotic, very charismatic Brazilian guy, goes into schools, gets kids making up carnival floats out of rubbish, kind of scrap store type activity, but bringing with it a whole load of awareness. And getting, doing so under contract. He works for 3 local educational authorities and works as a social enterprise doing that. So, just on the public service delivery angle, I think, we're looking at a public sector that's about to lose 25% of its budget in the next 5 years. Nobody owned up to that yesterday, of course, but I think we can save costs. It is our duty now not to be afraid of that. It's our duty to say, yes, actually, you know what? Now's the time you need us. We can bring you multiple benefits across a range of services. So that if I'm dealing with local authorities who are trying to chop down on individual waste contracts, we say, yeah, fine. Just find the money from the training budget because we're doing all this training for you. And a typical reuse organisation is making about 40% of its revenues from sale of product, 40% from training, so 40% stuff, 40% people, 20% local authority fees. And that's more or less working as a transferable model. So there you go. There's a whole set of things to be said about that. And then just finally, again, the green parrot point really. It's really important to make sure, a social enterprise now, I think thanks to the mark, cannot call itself a social enterprise unless it's delivering an environmental benefit as well. I'm fastidious about that. And I think a key part of developing a low carbon economy is to make organisations which just do not think of themselves as green. Somebody from Rhubarb Farm made a point about health enterprise. You can't be a healthy enterprise if you're not doing something for the environment. So there's a really strong business case, whatever the type of enterprise you're running, to find a way of doing it in a green way. And in terms of overcoming these issues, again, just tap into the existing networks or the networks that you're trying to start up here to find ways of doing that. But I think in terms of where should your reserves be sitting, if you've got any, you've got to invest in things that are relevant to what you're trying to achieve. There's no point putting it in a bank which is going to do the wrong thing. And quite often, this takes a lot of courage, but what we're doing with a third of our reserves at the moment is investing back into our own network development. It's scary, actually. It's a cheeky sack of a small charity to take a third of my reserves and put it back into, you know, sometimes struggling network. It's a very difficult thing to do. But I've got a good bunch of trustees, including 4 co-optees from the city, and we're having a go, you know. And I think that's at the heart of self-reliance that we need to build around a new resource economy. So, yeah, watch this space for the community carbon credit. You know, hopefully, I mean, Oxfam in Wales have now agreed to sell it in their shops. We haven't even finished developing it really, but it's going to be a way of buying carbon saving that a reuse project makes in its community, within the community. So it's about reinforcing local economies. So I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.